Now, we've been a fan for a long time, and you, the viewers, I'm sure have been out there cheering for the purple for a hot second, and we've experienced some ups and some downs, and some of the downs have just been embarrassing, infuriating, etc. This loss is one of the most embarrassing losses in team history. I mean, flat out. It's not hyperbole. It's not having recency bias or being a prisoner of the moment. Losing to the 0-10-1 Detroit Lions, even though, yes, respect, they played hard every single game and probably should be the Vikings earlier in the season. But with your season on the line and pushing for a playoff spot, to drop this game, it's shockingly inexcusable. And it's just, and the way that it happened too, because Mike Zimmer, the supposed defensive genius, yes, injuries, but every team has injuries. But in the final drive, you let Jared Goff, one of the worst number one overall picks in recent memory, and you let the Lions, who are depleted at receiver, march down the field 75 yards in 14 plays, a minute 50, 0 timeouts to beat you, just to notch you. Like, again, we say that head coaches should be called managers because you manage the game, you manage your personnel. How can you have your team in playoff mode, basically zero room for error, and they show up so flat and so unmotivated and lethargic that they're down 20-6 at halftime against the Lions? The Lions, who had not scored 20 points in a game since week 1, put up 20 points in the second quarter. Like, how does that happen? And respect, like we mentioned, the Lions, they fight. They don't have the talent to be a top-tier team yet, but they have not given up. They had not folded like the Vikings did today. They had not done that all season. Dan Campbell did his damn best to give the Vikings a game, but they didn't show up. And yeah, you can talk about injuries. No Dalvin, no Darisaw. Thielen got hurt right away. No Kendricks, no Barr. That was really big. No Everson, no Daniil. And Tomlinson also got hurt, but he came back in. No P squared. He's on the COVID list. But injuries are not an excuse. Like, next man up mentality. But this team just they thought that they could just show up in Detroit, get a win, and then worry about Pittsburgh on Thursday night on the short week. Didn't work out. And that comes down to the head coach. That mentality from the head coach leaks onto the field. And all of these close games that should have been wins this season, and all 7 of them easily could have been wins for the Vikings, that's why Mike Zimmer needs to be fired. He does. He simply does. It's inexcusable. Zimmer and this coaching staff got outcoached in all of the phases, and the Vikings were the team supposedly in the pushing for the playoffs. The Lions were the winless team. It looked like the other way around. The Vikings looked like the winless, hapless team, and the Lions looked like they're pushing for a playoff spot. So this is not going to be a traditional winners and losers video as per our tradition. So we're going to go through some losers. We're going to talk about a couple. I mean, we got to give Jefferson and Blake Lynch some love. But so the losers, Mike Zimmer. Like we mentioned, I think this is it. This has to be it. Where so many close games this season, whether it's the Bengals, whether it's the Cardinals, whether it's the Browns, whether it's the Cowboys, who legendary Cooper Rush, by the way, whether it's the Ravens, whether it's the Niners, whether it's this game, you just keep giving games away, mainly because you fail to execute. You get a 3-point lead to try to salt it away, try to run out the clock, all that stuff, and then this one, you just flat out don't show up. You left 21 points on the table in the first half. You settled for 2 field goals. And it's just embarrassing, man. Like, how does this team look so unmotivated in a must-win division game? How's that happen? That's Mike Zimmer. And also, adding to the most ignominious stat of the Vikings this season, 69, not nice, points allowed 2 minutes or less in the first half through 12 games. It's like a record or something. And so we've knocked Zimmer on his game management several times. And a lot of times it's mismanagement of the clock, mismanagement of timeouts. But the one that we've been ripping on him a lot has been going for 2 before you have to. And now I do think that Zimmer thinks that he's being modern age and like all the economists going out there, game theory experts. But you don't chase points until you have to, because if you miss, which you will a certain percentage of the time, you're chasing points the rest of the game. So in the third quarter, they score a touchdown. He decides to go for 2 to try and make it 20-17 versus 20-16 if they kick the extra point. Who cares if you're down 3 or 4 points in the third quarter? Is that all the points you plan on scoring? I mean, there's a lot of game left. It'd be one thing if there's a couple minutes left, and then sure, you want to get to a field goal. But also, Kubiak's 2-point play calls, man. Yikes. 0 for 3 on 2-point calls. And here's what happens. So every week, a team goes into the game with a couple of plays, handful of plays of their 2-point plays. They're got to have a goal line plays, and those were the best 3. Wow. Well, maybe not the second one because they got a yard because of the personal foul, but yikes. And again, if they had just simply kicked the extra point on all 3 of those touchdowns, guess what? You're up 7 instead of 4 on that final drive. And it's just mistakes like that fester and blah, blah, blah. And the team is so talented that they'll win games in spite of Zimmer at times. But I think that ownership has to see that it's clearly a time for a change. And I don't think he'll be fired this week because of the short week. But say they don't show up against Pittsburgh. Say they get embarrassed at home against the Steelers. And fans are booing. Boo at historic U.S. Bank Stadium. Then you have that extended layoff before Monday Night Football against the Bears. I think there could be a coaching change. And there should be, by the way. Thought that Zimmer. Also, final play, you're rushing 3. You're dropping 8 and you give up the goal line. Like, how you're dropping 8 into coverage? How do you not have at least 4 or 5 right at the goal line? Like, how do you do that? You knew that Cameron Dantzler was playing like 15 yards off the ball, Trey Wayne style, the entire game. Like, if you're such a great defensive coach, if you're such a DB guru, as it were, how come you're not talking to 27? Hey, Cameron, Tiny, Prancer, Dantzler, and Vixen, huh? Get your ass on the goal line. Just, it's so frustrating. It is. And the rest of the secondary, Breland missed tackles, gave up the receiving touchdown. DPI also dropped what would have been the game-sealing interception. Not that that's frustrating at all. Xavier Woods giving up that Hawkinson catch down the seam and a personal foul and involving giving up a touchdown as well. It's rough. And then the offensive line shakeup where I get trying new things, but Oli Udoh is not it, man. 2 false starts out at left tackle, even though that's probably his more natural position. Like, he's not cut out to start right now. He isn't. And also getting Bradbury back into the mix. Yeah, okay. Aye. And like, the funny thing about this is Vikings fans, like, we pointed this out when the schedule came out or as the season progressed, like, hey, we're probably going to lose to the Lions. Like, the Lions were winless heading into the Week 13 matchup. The Vikings probably gave them the first win, especially the way that the Vikings play up, play down to their competition, and the way they played the Lions early in the year. It just happens. But a couple positives. Man of the match, Justin friggin' Jefferson, 11 catches, $182, and a touchdown on 14 targets. After Thielen went out, Jefferson was going to be the man. He's the man. Just get him the ball. Just get him the ball. Like, even when he's covered, he ain't covered. And he usually ain't covered either. So just get him the rock, and the offense, whoever the next head coach is going to be, just get 18 the ball. Just throw it up there. Winner number 2, Blake Lynch. Future starter, by the way, he is going to be taking over Anthony Barr's strong side linebacker spot next year, even though we're going to have a new coaching staff. So potentially Anthony Barr's role, his very unique 4-3 strong side linebacker role, is going to be different, but whatever. Blake Lynch stays in the picture. There's a reason why Blake Lynch is playing over Troy Dye, even though Lynch was a UDFA and Troy Dye was a 4th-round pick last year, because Blake Lynch is better. He's better, man. 9 tackles, strip sack on 4th down with the game on the line. Blake Lynch also had that 3rd down sack earlier in the game. So, yes, he's going to be the dude long term. Winner number 3, KJ Osborne. Woo. Michigan native, coming back home. Thielen out, had some big-time catches, 4 for 47 and a touchdown. Converted a 3rd and 11. Also, the touchdown was on 3rd down, so love to see 17 out there. Winner number 4, Alexander Madison, the Bridges of Madison County, who ran hard. 22 carries, 90 yards, and a touchdown. Also, 3 catches for 34 on 3 targets. Fought through cramps, but was tough and physical all day, and just, Winner number 5, you can't really put this loss on Kirk Cousins. Like, Kirk played pretty well today. Minus a very slow first half. I put a lot more of that on the play calling. But 30 for 40, 340 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Just a horrible first half. Very questionable protection up front with Oli Udoh left tackle and Bradbury back at center, but helped bring this team back in the second half. Led them on what should have been a game-winning drive, but of course Zimmer's defense can't stop Jared Goff for going 75 yards. He did hold on to the ball forever on that strip sack and did almost throw 2 interceptions, but it be what it be. So 5-7. Vikings playoff chances have not been extinguished, but I'm not really holding my breath either, man. There's just way too many injuries, and there's way too much coaching incompetence on this team, and this team simply does not have enough talent to overcome the coaching of Mike Zimmer anymore. And I'm not a tank person. Like, I'm not saying a team should go out and intentionally lose games to improve their draft position. Vikings currently sit in the number 10 overall draft spot. That will change with the late afternoon games. But if the guys play hard, especially the young guys who are going to be part of this team and the foundation for many years to come, if they go out, play hard, execute, and the team just happens to lose, you know. But short week. Steelers at US Bank Stadium on Thursday. And like we said, I don't think Zimmer's fired this week. But when US Bank Stadium boos the absolute crap out of Zimmer, change has got to come. Change has got to come. And it can't wait for the end of the season. It simply cannot. But your thoughts are thoughts. The Vikings, in one of the worst losses in franchise history, drop a one against the Lions. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work. Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.